Hello? Hello, hello? Are you there? Oh, great. Well, welcome to Wario's, your new summer job. So this place recently got reopened, and you are in fact the first person to work on this location after its reopening. So that's quite an honor, don't you think? Before we begin, you might have heard some rumors or something about something going on here about 7 years ago. Just don't worry about that and don't think about it at all. I'm sure it's just silly rumors of some kind. So you have nothing to worry about. Anyways, your job here is pretty simple. Watch the security cameras around the building to make sure that everything works correctly. This place is pretty old now, and we haven't really got much time yet to fix everything around the building. So the rooms are pretty old and dusty and maybe rotten, and the machines might not work correctly. So that's why we need you to keep an eye on things to make sure that everything looks alright. Also, if it should be necessary, you can also put on the lights in the door to your left and also in the window to your right. You can also close off this door and this window. But please only shut those doors and turn off those lights if absolutely necessary. You only have a limited supply of power for now, so we don't really want to waste much money. So, yeah, good luck. Just keep an eye on things. Check your cameras pretty fast, I guess, to make sure that you don't use too much power. And you shouldn't really have anything more to worry about. You're sitting here until 6 AM and someone will come and take your spot. So, again, good luck, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Hello? Mr. McRoy, is it? I'll call you Richard, if that's okay with you. I'd like to welcome you to Wario's fast food factory, Richard. Oh, I'm James, by the way. Nothing special about me that you need to know, really. I like to code video games as a hobby. Although I'm unsure if I'm really good at coding video games, at least I love doing it, you know? And I've always wanted to be part of something big. Something that affects people, you know? I hope I can put my video game coding to good use one day. But I was fortunate to be one of the minds behind the reopening of this factory here. That's something I'm very happy about. But anyway, enough about me. Welcome to Wario's Fast Food Factory, a place with a dark past and a bright future, as we like to say. It's back in business, much thanks to your father, in fact, who invested so much and really kickstarted this entire reopening. The original owner, Wario, hence the name Wario, of course, he died 7 years ago, you see, back in 2007. Tragic stuff. This factory closed off then following that tragic event, as you may know, but now it's back in business. It grew popular due to a unique secret recipe for fast food that Wario used, so you bet we're using the very same one. Now you've been hired as a night guard in the factory. The job is quite simple. Be glad you're not here during the day shift, I tell you, where all the machines have to be operated and all that stuff. All you really have to do is to keep an eye on things. It sounds vague, I know, but it's not that much more to it, really. You're currently sitting in the main office of the factory, and seeing as the place hasn't been used for many years, we cannot know for sure just how functional the old machinery is yet. Has everything remained intact? It's hard to say. That's why you need to remain in your office and watch over the factory, using some brand new security cameras we've installed. Straight from Secure Incorporated. Just open up the pad you've been given and have a look around. Just make sure everything looks okay, pretty much. You only have so much power at your disposal at night, however. Try not to use all of it. Having that camera pad open drains some of that power, but even worse is the door to your left and the control room window to your right. As you have probably seen, we have installed some buttons you can use for each one of them. The red buttons will bring down strong metallic doors, and the white buttons will trigger lights in the respective doorways. Keeping these doors down drain quite a lot of power, as do having the door lights active. Please only use these when you need to. when would you need to, you might wonder? Well, there have been rumors going around for years that this recipe that Wario was using, and that we are using now, was quite interesting to money-hungry thieves back in the day when the factory was up and running. So the doors, the lights, it's just for safety, really. Mandatory precautions, that's all. No worries. Just keep an eye on the camera pad, yeah? Otherwise, you should be good, I think, yeah. We are very excited for this new era of the Wario's brand. So, have a good night, Richard, and I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Hello? There, I told you it wouldn't be a problem. You didn't happen to see anything unusual during the night, did you? Like, a machine not working or something? Probably not. Anyways, you did a good job. All machines were working during the day, so just keep it up. About that rumor I mentioned yesterday, the thing is, or you know what, just never mind, forget about that. Just keep doing what you're doing. I should probably mention though, not to scare you or anything, but it is a little fact that maybe you should know about. As you might know, the factory closed down 7 years ago, and you probably know that Wario and the rest of the gang who was here, well, they were never found. So we don't really know what happened to them. But anyways, that's not the point. So 6 years ago, 1 year after the factory got closed down, a woman passing by the abandoned factory, she claimed to see Wario in the window, only different. And the same thing happened to a man last year. So we don't really know what they meant by that. Do you know anything about this? Well, during these 7 years, it has only happened twice, so they were probably just something they imagined. So yeah, check those cameras, see if everything is working correctly, and only use the doors and lights in case you feel like. So keep up the good work, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Hi there, James here again. I heard you did good last night. Well done, Richard. Remember, if you see anyone snooping around at night, you tell us about it, yeah? We don't want another uncomfortable incident, like... Anyway, I heard from a co-worker today that you had questions about this place and its past. Well, the original owner, Wario, you know, businessman, he was kind. Yet he wasn't free of greed and stress. But honestly, who are, really? He was clever, and he had that boss-type personality, you know? It was him and his business partner Waluigi who started this factory and the Wario's brand as a whole. I don't know much about this Waluigi guy, aside from him being known as the sidekick, kind of, or as the less interesting one. But Waluigi is said to have been good with words. Charming, convincing, clever, but also insecure. Living in his friend's shadow, putting Wario in front of himself. You know, a people pleaser. That's how people described him. But also a people knower, apparently. He knew how to convince people, getting them to agree with him. That's probably why Wario chose him to be his business partner. The two of them made a good team, apparently. They started a cafe. That was the first thing, back in the 80s, you see, in the late 80s. Wario's Cafe, it was their first business, and that's also where this secret recipe of his found its footing and grew popular. They closed it off fairly quickly for unknown reasons, actually, and the two men began in the video game industry instead a few years later, in 1990 I think it was. WarioWare Incorporated. You might have heard of it. It was quite a spectacle, and the ideas and products from there were impressive, to say the least. However, people called the place haunted. Rumors has it that even Wario himself claimed the building felt off, and WarioWare actually partly burned down a few years later, unfortunately. It must have been an electrical fire, I guess, but that's when they were able to found their third establishment, which was this very fast food factory. I think it was a lifelong dream of Wario to build this factory, and finally it was up. And things were going well until, I told you the owner died. But that's not quite the entire story. He, Waluigi, along with 3 of their co-workers, completely disappeared one day. Gone. Nobody found them, heard from them, nothing. People had claimed to get strange vibes from the factory since day one, and the disappearance of these 5 didn't exactly lighten those rumors up. Some have even used the word cursed when describing this place. So what happened to them exactly, we don't know for sure. But I've talked long enough for tonight, Richard, I'm sorry. I just thought I would let you in more on the details of the past of your workplace, I'll let you get back to work, and I'll talk to you tomorrow night, yeah?
Hello? Well, look at that, your third night. You've done a good job. You've managed to save the power, great, so just keep up the good work you've done. There is something that I maybe should mention. The stories around the things that happened 7 years ago, well, they are in fact, true. Well, nobody knows really what happened. But what we know is that on a Monday about 7 years ago, Wario and Waluigi went to work, and as you probably have heard somewhere, they went missing. They never came back from work, and they never came out of the factory. And later the same night, Mario and Luigi, they went into the factory to look for them. But the thing is, they never came out either. And people have also mentioned that Mario's girlfriend or some sort, Peach or something, I don't know if that's the correct name, she went in to look for Mario when he went missing, and apparently she was never found either. And after Peach disappeared, someone came up with a rumor of the factory being cursed or something, and they decided to close it off. We have not really any clue on what really happened, though some witnesses have said that early in the morning on that same day, an unknown person went into the factory, and nobody really knew who that person was or anything. And the weird thing is, he never came out either. We also had a Wario costume in the back room, for mascot purposes. And the weird thing, that costume actually disappeared on that same day, so we don't really know where it is. So yeah, the factory has a bit of a dark backstory, I guess. But it looks to have a bright future. By the way, have you been doing something to the machine in the machinery room? We came to work earlier today, and the machine was turned off. And as far as we know, these machines are protected with a code of some sort that really only the employees or previous employees know about. You haven't touched that or something, have you? Oh well, it's back on again now. So just hang in there, and I will speak to you tomorrow.
Hey, Richard. Third night is up, and you should be getting the hang of this now, I guess. Everything's good, right? You'd tell me if something was up. I have to inform you about some upgrades we've installed today. As you know, this factory was built on an old piece of land, yeah? There were remains of underground tunnels that Wario turned into this factory's current cellar. At some point, though, the tunnels down there become unstable, and the deeper areas down there seem to be way too unsafe to enter. So, you know, who knows how far these tunnels actually go, and who knows what they were originally used for. Anyway, I'm telling you this because, well, first of all, don't go down there, yeah? But secondly, we kinda heard noises coming from down there today. Footsteps, as some people here claimed. As well as singing. Sounds quite absurd to me, but, you know, take it as you want. We feared someone may have been trying to break in from below, even though that should be impossible, of course. Or it could be animals down there. That, we don't know for sure, but there were sounds coming from down there, most definitely. So just for safety, of course, we've put up some more cameras down there as well. You should easily be able to access them on your camera pad, just like the other cameras, so you can keep an eye out on stuff. Yeah, the light situation down there, it's not good. So, why have cameras at all down there if you can't see anything, right? Well, there is an emergency solution for now. Using your camera pad, you can flash some lights we've installed down there, just in case you hear someone walking down there. I mean, the cameras have microphones built into them, so you should be able to hear sounds they pick up through your pad, yeah? So, now and then, just take a peek at those underground cameras and listen if their microphones pick up anything of interest. Listen for a few moments, though, before you brush it off as nothing. For all we know, if there should be something down there, it can take a few seconds before anything moves at all. In addition to that, because the cameras are so far underground, there might be some audio delay from the cameras and to the pad you're holding. So, based on what we heard today, and what some people heard, just to be sure, listen for a few seconds. Listen if you can hear anything that resembles walking, footsteps, singing, anything like that. And if you don't hear anything for 2, 3, 4 seconds, I'm sure it's good to go. And give the lamps down there a big flash if you hear something, okay? We don't really want anyone breaking in, so be careful though. We are on a tight budget as well, so electricity at night is still limited. So here's the deal. Flashing those lamps down there, it drains quite a lot of power if there's no movement detection in that room. So therefore, please use those flashes sparingly. Only use them if you hear something in that room.
Are you the one?
We don't really want you to suddenly sit there in the darkness for half a night with no power left. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah. I'll update you tomorrow if anything else is to be reported, yeah? Good night.
Hello? Alright, you're in position. Well, this is your fourth night. I think that you can take tomorrow and the rest of next week off. We at the company here have decided to close the factory off for a little while. Some things has been going on. The machines keep turning on and off, and there seem to constantly be some kind of glitch in the system. And yesterday, an employee found, well, 2 teeth in the basement. So yeah, weird things has been going on. So we decided to close it off, at least for a while. One could think that there are some intruders trying to get the secret recipe. If you didn't know, Wario and Waluigi had a secret recipe that I'm sure many people really wanted to have. Apparently they came up with this recipe at an old location. Yeah, apparently Wario and Waluigi ran a little shop or something before this factory was opened. But it should be very hard for any thieves to get into the factory. If you haven't noticed, this factory has 2 entrances, and both of those entrances are heavily locked, so any intruder getting in should be impossible. And speaking of intruders and people inside a factory, you haven't heard any voices of some kind? Well, as I was leaving my day shift yesterday, I could swear I heard a voice coming from inside a factory. It said something like, "Stop him and help me" or something. I don't know. It's weird though, because it really sounded like that Luigi guy who went missing. So anyways, just get through this night, and you will probably have a day off tomorrow. We'll send you a letter in the mail. And keep an eye out for something unusual. Anyways, good luck and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Anyways, good luck and I'll talk to you tomorrow again.
Good evening, Richard. I hope you're well rested and ready for another night shift, yeah. I talked to a co-worker again today about your situation as the night guard and everything, and, you know, she insisted that you had the right to know more about this place, and of course you do. So, you know, after the 3 establishments, the cafe, the microgame company and this factory, the owners and the workers disappeared in 2007, as I mentioned, but it has been rumored that a thief may have been responsible for the disappearance. It is said he was breaking into the factory to steal the secret recipe, you know, that I mentioned to you. Based on witnesses and the fact that Wario's mascot costume is still missing. It was a costume of himself, pretty much, a big costume, pretty much, that he used for mascot purposes, commercials and stuff. And we still haven't found it yet, even 7 years later now. Based on that, it is believed that this hypothetical thief used this very costume, because it is said that the thief, he took the lives of the 5 in the process. Actual murders, you know? But as I mentioned, no bodies has ever been found. We do not know for sure if the thief killed them or if something else happened, because the thief himself also disappeared, never to be seen again. 6 missing people, Richard. It's all a mystery. The thief is speculated to have been a man named Bruno. Bruno Gates, to be exact. The only evidence we have for that is his wife, Dolores Gates, I think her name was. She reported her husband missing around the time of this incident, so, you know, you can make the connection that maybe it was the same guy? Of course, these are only rumors, yeah, but if we're being honest, that's why the door mechanic was installed in our office in the first place. We don't want anything like that to happen, ever again. I hope this won't scare you away, yeah? So we did some digging today in the factory. Quite literally, actually. There are depths of this cellar that are unsafe and they are blocked off. presumably by Wario himself when he was alive. But we found remains of Wario, Waluigi, and the 3 known factory employees. Diaries, lunchboxes, toolkits, and the like. As for the employees that went missing, being 2 brothers named Mario and Luigi and a woman named Peach, we haven't found that much of interest yet. However, we tried reading through some of the diaries from the 2 owners, or at least what's left of them. The diaries are all torn up and dusty, and much of the ink can't even be read anymore. But we did manage to make out some of Wario's latest entries in his diary, where it basically talks about how he's very happy with the status of the factory, I can see. Yeah. And according to a line here, it is much thanks to the insane profits they made from WarioWare, as he writes, which allowed them to invest much more money in this factory. Waluigi's diary was interesting for me personally. It seems like the 2 of us have had a similar experience. A certain type of dream, to be exact. You can understand my surprise, I'm sure. This factory is quite strange, don't you think? Or is that just me? Like a subtle wind that doesn't feel familiar is blowing through these corridors. I wonder if your father too felt the same when he chose to fund this reopening. Or if it's all just in my head. It's late now. I'm rambling again, sorry. Forgive me, Richard. Tell me if you have any questions, yeah? Have a good night.
Hello? What are you doing there? Didn't you get the letter? We decided to close off the factory, and now as the factory has been closed off, there really is no way out for you until 6 AM when the doors open. Yeah, both doors are heavily locked now automatically, from 12 AM to 6 AM. So yeah, you're pretty much gonna be there tonight. Just stay where you are, as I'm on my way to the factory now, as a matter of fact. When I get over there, I can try to open the door from the outside, but I doubt I will be able to. Anyways, I read something yesterday that might have a connection of some sort to this factory. I read that if a soul wants to avenge or have a revenge of some sort, their souls may turn evil and confused and even go back to their old bodies. Apparently they can get aggressive against anything that is similar to what they died of. So, not to scare you off or anything, but you haven't seen Wario's body or something walking around in the factory, have you? Well, if you do, then keep safe and avoid eye contact. I'm not really sure what's going on right now. Alright, I'm walking out to the factory now, so let's see if we can...
Good evening, Richard. It's James here again. Listen, I'll get straight to the point. I don't know if you've seen anything of that which I'm now referring, but I've seen things, okay? So earlier today, my eyes have seen things I still cannot comprehend. There are faces in these walls. One face in particular, Richard. I'm not trying to scare you away. Maybe you already know what I speak of, but you haven't said anything in fear of losing your job. I don't know. Sorry to dump all this on you. I've just got a feeling I cannot shake off. A feeling of deep, deep dread. Maybe there's a reason no one has bought this piece of land before Wario did. Thinking about it, I don't even know if anyone else than him were ever allowed to buy this land for some reason. I called an old friend of mine. I started thinking, about what I was seeing and the story about the factory and everything. So I called an old friend of mine, a guy who helped Wario set up his first cafe back in the 80s. I got curious to know more, The horrific story from this factory, the things I saw today, the unfortunate set of events in the brand's past. Clearly, there has to be more to Wario than we originally thought, right? So, my friend, he told me that he too, in fact, had seen things back in Wario's original cafe. Strange, unexplainable anomalies. But with the rumors of the factory being cursed, the horrible incident in 2007, and the strange vibe we get from this place, the sightings I had today, the old caverns below this place, one cannot help but make connections, and wonder if something deeper is happening. I don't want you to worry about losing a job, Richard. You can trust me. I, too, know there is something strange about this factory. It doesn't feel right at all. I'm on my way over to you right now, in fact. I'll take the night shift alongside you tonight, okay? I'll be there very soon. Do you ever get that feeling, Richard? Like the air feeling off, the wind is haunting. Have I been here before, Richard? Have we been here before? This dream... Is this now, Richard? Has this...
It's